We are now in the second week of the Faversham Fringe, which will run until the 26th of October, and the people of Faversham and beyond are fortunate enough to have the chance to see a host of unique shows performed by very talented people. I'm Wendy Otway, and I'm taking advantage of this gathering of talented people to catch up with some of them. Today I'm talking to David Robert, one half of Name Nomads. He will not only host You and Me, a live game show on Friday, the 17th of October, but also perform an improvised play, Heartbreak Motel, on Saturday, the 18th of October. Hi, David. Thanks for being with us today.
No, it's a pleasure. Actually, just let you know, I'm actually not a half, I'm a quarter. There's four of us in the No Name Nomads. We
Okay.
make up an improvisation troupe.
Okay, a troupe rather than just half of two. No problem. David, what inspired you to create a game show which celebrates relationships? Are there prizes to be won?
There are certainly prizes to be won, provided by local businesses, which is really nice. So you can get star prize, I believe, is a meal for two at Papa Bianco's, and a tea room as well. Has provided a prize, and Grain and Half are going to be giving some prize. So everyone who participates gets to get something. Why a game show? Well, from a personal point of view, it was a really nice chance of amalgamating my improvisation skills with stand-up comedy skills. And sometimes when we do improvisation, there's always suggestions from the audience, but sometimes the audience, how it'd be so nice if we could get up and join you. I think sometimes fellow improvisers come and see improvised shows. So I've always got that feedback. Oh, it'd be great if you could pull people up on the stage. I thought, well, maybe there's a show that could incorporate this. And so started to design a show and looked at sort of previous sort of game shows and just found that celebrating relationships is a really nice one. But rather than just focusing on on couples, I thought, well, all relationships are interesting. Siblings, work colleagues, children, and their parents. I thought, let's really open the net and just enjoy a game show that celebrates all the possibilities of connecting people.
And are the questions difficult?
No, because it's not a quiz show.
Ah.
It's not a quiz show. It's a game show. It's about how well you know the other person.
Right. Okay.
So how well do you know your partner? How well do you know your work colleague? But there's questions for each scenario. I'm a brother, so I thought about the sort of things. I'm a brother, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a work colleague. So I thought of all the different, relationships and what makes them special. So we've written questions specifically for each type of pairing.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so now turning to Heartbreak Motel. Apart from the obvious and avoiding spoilers, what is Heartbreak Motel all about?
Well, so, I mean, in many ways, who knows? Because it's improvised on audience suggestions. So we'll find out on the night. That's the beauty of improvisation. But there is a structure to it. And basically, there's something lovely about the transient life of a motel. But what's interesting from a relationship point of view is if you think about maybe the last time you were in a motel or a hotel, you're not surrounded by the trappings of your house, the distractions of DIY or the comfort of soft furnishings, or you've got your Sony TV package. It's kind of just you and the person with you in that room. Even if it's work, you might travel for work reasons and be sharing a room with a colleague, but you ain't got the office and all the distractions. It's you, probably quite a stark room if it's a motel, and suddenly you've got to face each other. And often those are scenarios where truths come out or people have to sort of really get to the nitty gritty. So that's the premise. So you're certainly going to get some like I say, some real displays of of how people communicate and interact with each other. Could be tragic, could be comic. But I guess the important thing for us is to show, look, we are improvised. We're completely improvising. We've got a loyal following, and I think they do trust us, because basically that's what we do. We love improvisation. We're not trying to hoodwink or cheat anyone, but we'd be cheating ourselves more than anyone. So what happens, how it stimulates the scene grow, is that audience suggest objects that are in our suitcase, and what's taken, what would you take to a motel, what's in the suitcase, and they're all written on paper and they're all put in. And people do surprise us, and you get some quite bizarre ones. And each scene will begin by someone pulling that object, and that object will determine who, what, and where. I'll explain the where, so that who you are, what you're doing, who both of you are, who you are, what your relationship, what you're doing in that motel room. And obviously the where is the motel room, but normally people are in a motel room because they're kind of doing something else. Are they going to a wedding, or are they going to a conference, or are they going to buy a new car? So that object absolutely determines the relationship and the scene that you're about to see. So all from audience input, in audience suggestions.
Brilliant. So it's a real nerve-wracking thing, isn't it, doing improv? I mean, you've got to really be thinking on your feet in advance of everybody, let alone as everybody comes up with suggestions.
But we've been doing it for years. This is what we do, and it's interesting. And we've been doing it for years. So there's a real trust and there's a real rapport between us. And we do meet regularly, and it's not to rehearse, because you can't rehearse improvisation, but you can certainly develop your improviser's brain and your improviser's skill. And that's what we're doing for years. And so I think we're very good. We're very alert. We're very good at listening. We interact with each other very well. We know each other. There's a real sort of, I don't know, I think when you work with the people a lot, you have a kind of sort of shared consciousness, and we can almost sort of predict and feed off each other very well. And I think that makes for a very exciting, dynamic performance.
So when you're going through the improv, do you have sort of an unspoken understanding whether this story is going to go down a sad or funny, or do you really aim at just being funny?
There's never an intention, because that would be against the rules of improv. You're trying to put something onto it. The object will determine, and the tone will come out. And we find that when you've got a few scenes, you're going to see the consistent thing in the play is the room, is the one room, the hotel. And what is beautiful about it is many different people will go through a motel room, in the course of even a week. That's the consistency. So I no doubt you'll see a scene that is going to go bizarre and quite funny and quite comic, but you could there'll be a number of scenes. So we hope to get many different tones. So I think you'll see something sad. You might see something very realistic. You might see something quite absurd. We do like to keep it varied as well, because that's entertaining and interesting for us as improvisers.
Absolutely. So, and also as improvisation performances go, they must not only be exhilarating, but also nerve-wracking, however experienced you are. Have you got a memorable moment in a performance you'd like to share that was uber nerve-wracking or just completely off the wall?
It's interesting in terms of improvisation. I mean, sometimes you just get, the audience is trying to, I think the expression is pimp you. So they're trying to, really put you out there. And sometimes they will make suggestions, quite lewd ones. So I remember once, picking out an object, and it was a 3-pack of condoms. And you could see where that audience member wanted that scene to go in a motel room. But it's interesting because and probably culturally, we all shared the same thought, audience members and performance. And there was a beautiful moment where everyone is sort of has a sharp intake of breath, like, oh my God, it's a pack of condoms. Where's this going to go? But as an improviser, you play with that moment. And sometimes you just very quick, and this is split second in the improviser mind, you reject the obvious thought. And we ended up playing a scene of two health workers that were having to go and do some educational lessons at a secondary school, and it was out of their area, so they had to travel to a motel, and their whole conversation was how they were going to present this to very skeptical, badly behaved teenagers. And were we going to use bananas or cucumbers for the condom demonstration this time? And it became very comical, but also a genuine, realistic experience. So that's us. That's our job, where you've got to play with that uncomfortable moment and sometimes just not do the obvious.
So if you had one thing to say to your audience that has never been to see improv, what are you going to hope they're going to take away? The ones that aren't your fans, your loyal following, who don't know what actually they're coming to see. They've just decided it might be fun.
Well, first of all, thank you for taking the risk. That's brilliant. And first thing I say is come. I think some people can be very nervous about improvisation. First of all, they think they're going to get pulled up on stage. In this show, Heartbreak Motel, you won't be. In fact, even in the other show, you're not pulled up on stage. You have to volunteer yourself. But I think people sometimes feel the worst. They sometimes think, is it stand-up comedy where you're going to get picked on? It's not that. So come. You can come and do absolutely nothing and just enjoy the show. At most, we're going to we're going to ask you to write an object on a piece of paper and chuck it in a suitcase. That is the most you're going to get asked to do. So first I say, beginning, come and have an open mind. But I think what people will get out of it is a realization that improvisation is not just entertaining, can be very, very good theatre and can be very funny, but it can also be very, very moving as well. You get some scenes that are quite heart-rendering. And I know there are some people, I've got friends who just say, I would never come and see an improvised show. And I'm like, why not? They're like, I like scripted plays, I like scripted theatre. And I said, I've done realistic improvisation. We've explored with realistic improvisation, and the audience thought it was scripted. They didn't believe it was improvised. So I just say, if you like theatre, you like live performance, come along, see what improvisation, see what it is for you. If you don't like it, the great thing about Faversham is Fringe Festival is everything is so well priced. You never feel that it's not like you've spent £25. I think you're spending about £6 something on a ticket. I'm sure you're not going to regret it at all. In fact, I'm pretty confident you're going to have a good night out.
Fantastic. So if you're looking to win prizes in a game show or experience improvisation for the first or the 99th time and watch a heartwarming improvised play, then get your tickets for You and Me, a live game show on Friday the 17th of October at 8:30 and in the Alexander Centre, or Heartbreak Motel on Saturday the 18th of October at 7 p.m. in the Arden Theatre. Book the tickets online at favershamfringe.co.uk/what's-on. Both of these shows will have you in tears of joy and probably other emotions too. Thank you, David, for talking to Radio Faversham and the people of Faversham today. And good luck with both your performances.
Oh, thank you so much. Lovely and really, really nice to to be part of Faversham Radio as well. It's a lovely event, and it's really nice to thank you for your time for letting me come on the show.
It's a pleasure.